Hi guys, welcome to the latest podcast of YarninBlak. Today I've got a great friend of mine on, Katie. I'll introduce you to Katie in a second. But first I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that I'm currently calling in from. I'm here in Balwin Q on the land of the Wurundjeri people. I'd like to pay respect to their elders past and present. I always want to acknowledge the young people that are coming through because they're going to be our future leaders and warriors in the future, so I always want to acknowledge them. And I want to acknowledge any other Aboriginal people that join us today, including my great friend Katie. How are you?
Oh, hey, Jay, I'm really good. I'm glad we reconnected.
I'm glad you can
Been a
come
few
onto my
years
show.
now.
It has been, it has been.
Yeah.
For people that don't know who you are, where you're from?
All right. I currently live in Port Hedland, but I'm a Yamatji from the Midwest area, from a little town called Mullewa. So I'm a Yamatji Mullewa Wadjarri, and my mum is from down near other side Perth, over the hills. She was born in a little town called Brookton, so she's a Ballardong Menang lady. So yeah.
Yeah.
I
And if
lived
you
most of, sorry, yeah, and I lived in Port Hedland for 49 years working here, and I'm just going on retirement now.
you look too young to be retiring already.
Oh, that's a compliment, but no, when your time's up, I guess you know psychologically, and I've got other things in my life I want to do besides keep working for West Australian Country Health Service.
Yep. So today's your really last day. You're packing up. What are you going to be moving into? What would you be doing? Because retiring, some people retire to retire, and some people retire to do other things.
Well, of course, family comes first. I think I've committed too much of my work life, for nearly 40 years in one service here. I think at some time in your life, you got to put it to family. So my retirement's called transition to my grandchildren. So I will spend more time with them and help my son out. It would be 5 hour working. I'll watch it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now you've said you lived in. Where did you grow up initially?
I grew up in Mullewa, a little town just east of Gelton, about 99 k's, in a little wheat and sheep country. I grew up in that town because my father was a traditional elder from that area, and and then I escaped to do year 11 and 12 in Perth then, and I never returned back to Mullewa. I sort of came up to Port Hedland to visit my brothers, and then you fall in love, and that's it, and I had 2 children, and that didn't last long, but I'm still putting along with my career and supporting my children. My children are adults now; they're in their 40s.
Yeah, but they'll always be little kids.
They are, especially for your pocket.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you finished year 11 and 12. What did you do after you finished year 12?
Well, I had entry into teaching back in the late 70s, in 79, and of course I came up to Port Hedland and met this fella, and your world is your oyster, fell in love, had 2 children, lasted 5 years, and then I did more. I went back to university doing mature courses,
Yep.
Yeah, so in the early 90s, I went to Curtin University, and I got a bachelor in community development practitioner there. So it was a 3-year course. I think they changed the name a little bit now, but I do uphold the Curtin University scroll. Then I went to probably about 2009, I did that Wagga Wagga course, the Bachelor of Mental Health.
Yes.
Yeah, and because I worked in the field since 96 when the WA Mental Health changed to community, and then ended up getting a job in 99 permanently. So what happened was I just knew into mental health thing, and then at the first year of doing that course, I was the first West Australian to win the Dean's Award, so that was a moment for me.
Awesome.
I think I walk it and talk it,
Yeah.
Haven't paid off, yeah. So they
Awesome.
did have the graduation, not so much up there. We had it in WA where we had it at Mullewa, the training
Yeah.
college down there.
Yeah.
And we had a little morning tea there, and a couple of officials came along then for the morning tea and to see me graduate with that certificate, the Dean's Award. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Mm.
So did that mean you set the bar a bit higher for your kids?
They know, particularly the girl, she's very, very smart. The boy's more into sport, of course. Yeah. You know, the girl is, she knows all my bars. Yeah. It's just that I'm one who, a person who, when I want to commit to courses, I will commit to courses. Got
Yeah.
many, many certificates and diplomas too under that, but I don't even want to think about them all at the moment. There's too many. And I have to do a resume one day.
Yeah.
You know, you leave it to last minute when you find time, but
Yeah.
to update it really. But I think gave me more insight in being a voice around Aboriginal mental health. You know, particularly ensuring that cultural input is in that because we've got such a diversity of Aboriginal people living in the Pilbara, which includes the Western Desert mob, all from out there. So what they say is they say someone, you know, not understanding but going off is their language, they'll come and have a yarn with me because they'll say, go and ask that Papertalk girl. They all know me, that Papertalk girl, yeah?
Yeah.
But no. So along that career line, it sort of gave me a voice being in a lot of the Aboriginal mental health policies and procedures and guidelines throughout the state. And then in 2014, with the WA Mental Health Act changes, I was a part of the working group in the clinical and the cultural component to ensure that we put traditional healers into our WA Act.
Yeah.
And so that's in there. We encourage people to use that also, you know, between traditional versus westernised medicine.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing up here. I've seen lots of people being misdiagnosed at some times, and the healer seeing them, and we call it cultural way. They found something, and that person really, really didn't need any medication or a diagnosis, a mental health diagnosis. Yeah, so it does work. It depends. And my issue also too is underlying trauma. Mental health needs to pick up more underlying trauma before they diagnosed any of our Aboriginal people, and that had happened a few times. They did that, and I started communicating and working with consultants about that. Also, being on the RANSAP community member. Yeah, they give me another 3 years. I've been on there for 6 years, so I must be making some effort of change.
Well, they like you. They've asked you back again.
Yeah, they're kicking me out. Yeah, so I like to give a lot of my energy and stuff. I feel that's really, really important, and people want to make a change, and people are hearing those issues. You know, even with a RAP plan, also too with the college. You know, to ensure that we ensure Aboriginal cultural stuff get put in there.
Yeah. Now, you've used the word cultural safety. What does cultural safety mean to you, and what makes you feel culturally safe when you go to a service?
Oh, right. You know, cultural safety, I'll give an example for this workplace I sit in, right? It's WACHS, and it's a Pilbara region corporate office. We have a RAC worker here, Regional Aboriginal Health Consultant, and we have a project officer underneath there. So we have a look at it. I don't know if you know about the cultural, what's it? I even developed it. The cultural governance framework.
Oh, yep.
The WA one?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that one, me and 7 other coordinators came up with an idea.
Yeah.
And our idea was thinking bottom up, not clinical, not corporate, you know. So we put ourselves as cultural. So we started working around, so let's do what we want. So let's talk to them. It's no top down, it's bottom up. So a lot of things have been endorsed and implemented around the regions in WA, pulling out what's achievable within that framework, you know. So that was a big thing that we came upon and like to see it done. what do you say, endorsed in regions, and
Yeah.
it's not half completed. You got a project out of there, you complete the project. So in the Pilbara here, working with those two I had mentioned, there was a lot of stuff put there already already halfway on another name. They were actually picked out, went through, turned it around, and it endorsed a lot of those projects. And I think we were the leading in the state, designing and implement for staff and for the service. So it's always about cultural safety when they come to work, in the environment. For me, I would pull it out if I don't feel comfortable. Yeah, and also at times when, particularly the yes vote.
Yeah.
That yes vote gave me no courage to come to work the following work day.
Yeah.
I didn't want to come to work because in Port Hedland there was 82% of people. When you look at the stats, they were non-Aboriginal people who overvoted with the yes answer. So I felt a little bit uncomfortable, didn't feel safe at that time. Next day I came in and wasn't going to tolerate anything because you don't know who you work with.
No. Yeah.
So that's a good example for me. Also, when managing staff, when they go out on outreach works and things like that, about cultural protocols, what you must do, what you must not do, right down to clothing, because we work with a lot of traditional Aboriginal people in communities around the Western Desert area, and cultural safety again, it's everywhere you go. Making yourself, what would you say, making yourself in a position to ensure that you're safe and your consumers or your carers are safe also too. It's not only about you. So, I think as you open it up more, there's other stuff. People have other ideas around what it is, but it can lead into other subjects too. If you've got safety, then you got cultural supervision stuff too. We're looking at that as another project to do, and that's going to central office at the moment as a guideline, and it's something I can pick up in the new year if I want to do a project from West WA, for the WA Mental Health. It's a bit of that stuff, but I want to sort of push them all around in my head, push them out when I leave. I'm pushing that side. They're there in the background, but not in my forehead. I don't want that no more. I'm leaving. I want other things in life to do, and also engaging back with cultural safety, coming back to Mullewa, being supporting my family and projects down there, and also being a traditional owner from there. Getting part of the Mullewa consultation group with the new hospital bill, So a lot of that stuff I'm starting to touch base with my hometown and being a stronger voice with my family there. Yeah.
What's the message you'd like people to carry on in the future from what you're doing now and the projects that you've been working on now? Where would you like to see them in the future?
I've always been supporting the young people that come through. They're our voices as we wean out, and I actually experienced that in my own work, my own life, where I've been involved with AMSs and all the old people guided and did all that, and I sat there as a new member on the committee. I absorbed all that stuff. Then I finally stepped into the chairperson's role for 9 years with the local AMS here. And I will always say, I remember. Those people taught me. And then I learned more. And then I'd like people to, if they're young, give it a go. I'd like to see them come through like when I leave, a younger person comes in to my job. I've been in the job for 39 years, so you know what I mean? I like a young one coming through who's got confidence, who's got the support, be able to challenge people, look at their own barriers and address that stuff. I'm all for educating young kids to come through, and that's where I want to head to, I guess, with education after retirement in the Aboriginal mental health space. I think I'm better at that way, teaching people.
Yeah. So I was trying to work out how long we've known each other. So I'm just trying to think, when did you become a mental health first aid instructor? What year?
It would have been 2003, because remember I got that the national award in 2003, 2013, not 3.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. I remember getting this after delivering it for 12 months, remember?
Yeah.
Yes, and you wasn't my instructor.
I was the instructor at the time, yes.
Yes, you were. Yeah, and I won that in 2013, that's within the first 12 months of delivering, in the first year being an instructor. That was a big surprise in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I didn't have any Aboriginal colours on that night. So
No, you didn't.
One person had an Aboriginal shirt on. I said, "Can we swap, please, just for a photo?" And that was you. You eagerly gave your shirt to me.
Yeah, I remember taking my shirt off and handing it to you to put on.
I got a good photo of that. I've just got to find it now. Moving.
Yeah.
Might find good old photos around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But no,
so what did you enjoy about delivering mental health first aid when you were delivering it?
Oh, I'm working in it. It's from the horse's mouth anyway. But I did provide some examples until, at first, the course was fine. And then when you do edition 3, there's a lot of cutbacks in it, people like raw material in there,
Yeah.
It's more of a yarning session, but I think edition 2 gave more stuff in it for learning different people compared to edition 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had the experience. I walked and talked. I explained it to the participants, and I brought it right down to them to understand. In edition 2, I used to role play some of those scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was a big learning curve for a lot of the young ones, particularly around anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, and getting them to know what anxiety is. And I used to say, example, someone's having an anxiety attack outside Kmart entrance, and you come along as a mental health first aider. What would you do? And they'll go back. I gave a scenario and I acted out, and I said, "You and someone there like the squiggly man."
Yeah.
Squiggly man. How would you approach that person? Do you know about the anxiety symptoms? What is he displaying? How would you go up to him and ask him, do you need help? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I notice you're having a panic attack. I will stay with you. None of them knew that last one, but they'll go up and touch him or come over here and see it, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll correct them after, how you approach them, and wait with them, if they want to wait or they won't, just leave you alone, So they got a lot of stuff out of me doing the scenarios, even Auntie Joyce,
Yeah.
I used to act like Auntie Joyce in that session.
Yeah.
With the gollywog hair and
Yeah.
Old dress. I was a grandmother, Auntie Joyce, and the scenarios like used to go to that daycare centre, blah blah blah. The next minute she's sitting at home drinking 24, smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
House is messy. How would you help her? They had a laugh. And they all asked about Auntie Joyce. I said, no, Auntie Joyce's new session is out now.
Auntie Joyce might be able to get her own sitcom on TV.
Yeah. I tell you what. I loved it those days, especially with edition 2. Edition 3, yeah, okay, but I think I had to, slow down the yarning session. It's good. Then you have to draw out from other participants to be involved in the yarning, Some of them don't know, so no. One by one, go around, give me your answer. So
Yeah.
encourage them to participate in a safe space.
Yeah.
And then allow them to go out if they had family, they're still hurting for completed suicide. So, I'll have the other instructor out there sitting with them, and ask them, or we can refer them to someone if they want to do that. Or the workplace, I did it with FMG quite a lot, and all the VTech courses, VTech students, but they will follow up with that medical stuff also too. Yeah, really good supporting their workers.
Yeah. I've got a question. It's going to take you back in time a little bit, but at school growing up, how much Aboriginal studies did you learn at school? And even when you were first studying at the university, your first course, how much Aboriginal studies did you get in that course?
Growing up, what it would have been like in the 70s. There was none. I learned German. Come on. It's gone out of my head now. All the German words are gone. But I did that for 2 years, in history. None whatsoever. I came in with what I knew, what I grew up with, from my father's country and my family, in bits and pieces that you want to know, like, the Marcia Langdons and the Gary Folders, all these people that started this walk up in Canberra. And I did meet some of them in the older versions where from that Canberra stuff when they started off, and the ride and everything like that. I know a lot of that now, but I wasn't taught. And then in university, Curtin University, well, it was Centre for Aboriginal Studies. There was a few Aboriginal lecturers there. They understood, but it was a mainstream, so they understood well in regards to the diversity of Aboriginal people in the room. So that was well done there. I think it was a learning thing for them and the university to take on board. This is business. The one at Wagga Wagga was very culturally orientated too. Some of the courses there were perfect for Aboriginal inclusiveness into the mental health, Bachelor of Mental Health, I think. And some of them lecturers did have a lot of support from Aboriginal people, and some of them were Aboriginal people themselves, like Clay Macmillan, first pharmacist in Australia, all that stuff. So I still keep in contact with a lot of them too.
And that course is still going too. The one in I've got I supervise a couple of students that have been through that program in the last couple of years, and it's still going pretty strong. And I think the feedback is that because of the Indigenous flavour all the way through it, they feel culturally safe in going to classes and actually having yarns in the classroom. And some people they go are really culturally knowledgeable, and some of them not. But people don't make them feel like dumb for not knowing stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I'm glad it's still going and more participants along the way. Yeah, I did notice that when I was a student there for 3 years, maybe because I grew up with my dad being a traditional elder and a healer, so I had strong points around that. And then working with a diversity of groups here in Port Hedland, Western Desert people, local people, people from other areas come and live here. So my cultural lens was very quick and fast to pick up. Now,
I love the Pilbara area, and I've been there a few times. But if someone had never been there before, I think the first thing that people don't realise is again how remote some places really are, because they might get to Geraldton and go, well, this is pretty remote, or they'll go to Port Hedland and go, this is pretty remote. But there's a hell of a lot more remoteness than that. How do you prepare people for, when you do actually have people come up from the city to come and do work in communities? How do you prepare them for the real remoteness?
I've done it a few times with some trainees with Cultural Immersion, WA branch, who ran that. And also staff who come up here from other regions, and first is with the mental health space. We do an orientation on boarding with them, how to work with Aboriginal mental health workers.
Yeah.
We look at our guidelines also too. We have a model of care that's just been reviewed at the moment through central office and us workers. So we're making a few changes in the model of care. And do we need a model of care? Because the policies shift. They probably don't want a booklet, but we want 2 names. But then again, I said, hey, I put a lot of work in that, and me and other colleagues when we were doing this. Don't cut it all out. We want that stuff to in there because it's important. People lose focus if you don't add it in there. So all that could be face to face. It could be on Teams. Documents are sent to them to pre-read first, and then we have a yarn, and we'll talk about that stuff, and we'll talk about the local stuff, the do's and don'ts. If you're dealing with a mob from the desert or different the diversity groups, we talk different. Particularly the traditional ones, we do add extra work in there, because there's cultural protocols when you're approaching these people, Some do take it on board, but if they don't listen, what's going to happen is they do something inappropriate. They won't get the feedback what they want. You don't approach the man, you approach the woman, all that stuff. But anyway, so far so good. Also in the service itself, with the RAC and the SPO, and myself contributed to a cultural learning for the whole Pilbara, including the non-Indigenous staff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have an induction. You're working for WACHS, just a short, half an hour induction again, 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you find that there's Aboriginal people from around the country that come and do work in communities and they don't even get it right themselves?
They too, because there are lots of Aboriginal people from their different. Because there's diversity, one may not know about. Like my background, they may not have access to that. There could be stolen generation people also too. Their culture is different, but we have similarities and commonalities with it.
Yeah.
Some of them. Again, you identify your Aboriginal self, but are you Aboriginal when they don't come near you? They're in a 50D position, but how much do they want to get themselves involved in a relationship in different areas, and we know who you are. So it's up to them if they want to approach and get the support from the rest of the reference group workers, Aboriginal workers. A lot of them just, stay their side. But then a 50D position, and I always say, we get racism everywhere amongst ourselves too,
Yeah.
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 But it does happen.
Yeah. I know for myself, traveling around Australia, the one thing I've always done is I've always spoken to traditional custodians and elders before I even come into a community to let them know who I am, what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's ever said to me, no, don't come, or no, we don't want you. They've always said thank you for taking the time to have a yarn with us. And I've always felt really safe on going onto country, especially in Western Australia, because it's on the other side. It's completely different to where I'm over here. But people say it's because you ask the respectful questions, but you listen and you're guided by things that we can do, we can't do, places where you can go to and you can't go to. And I think that sometimes I see some Aboriginal people thinking they know it all and going into communities and not doing what we tell the non-Indigenous people to do as well. We have to do ourselves as well. Take time, get to know people.
Yeah, that's correct. Got a couple of new clinicians on that's been bandwagon with other government agencies going into a community. I said, that's not the way you're doing it. You need to get permission. We've got all these cultural protocols. You must abide by this. And also, you got to know who are you out there for. The health clinic does not own the community.
No.
Has to go through the office, the CEO, the chairperson, all the mobs that they know. That's the way I work with all Aboriginal communities. Also, you know, like Jiglong has history with the rabbit crucifix, you know.
Yeah.
If you're not aware, or you wouldn't be asking to go where they came out along the fence line. But if you're aware, with respect, someone will take you out there and show you where they came through and where the old Geelong community was, where they down in the creek there, you know, and how they came into there. But a lot of people don't know it. They just go out there, do the work, and go back, or may want to stay overnight to get TA overnight and come back in the morning. You know, no need for it. It's a day trip. I think a lot of people. I had to reinforce that with a couple of our new workers coming on board. I had to pull them up. You will not go out to community until you add this education with me.
Yeah.
And another worker.
Yeah.
So the other worker is your little passport when you go into the West Indebted communities, you know. So yeah. But the other thing too in my personal life, I'm connected with all them through LOIE with my brothers in law time. And there's family out there for other reasons that we've been connected for. Families come down to my father's region, you know, over many, many years. And a lot of them are all passed off now, but you still got them there. That's what they say, go and see that Papertalk girl.
Yeah.
That's their language. Yeah.
I know I'm watching the time, but one question I've got for you is if I had $1 zillion and a magic wand, and said to you, you could fix something in Aboriginal affairs in this country, what would you do? Where would you start?
Fix? Oh, well, I'm just keeping in mind with my passion around mental health and Aboriginal health, right? What I want to see is changes that are more acceptable by Aboriginal people without this top layer coming on. I'd like to see a big hub where everybody goes into one service. We control all that stuff. I'd like to see young trainees coming on board and get trained properly. Because they're our future, I guess, when we're talking about recruitment staff, encouragement staff, traineeship programs. Needs to be out there a little bit more, but I think there was too many of our mob when you go anywhere on the streets. So I always ask them, you know, what's your story? You know, you want to drink, I'll buy you a drink, never money. Because I've got relatives too that live on the streets too, you know. And of course there's all AOD substances involved, but that's their choice. But they're human at the end of the day, and you know, Aboriginal. If you listen to stories and you're worthwhile and want to do something about it, there are services there, but you might have to take them, hold them there. Bring them. I used to have that happening in our service here. If they didn't fit the severe to, you know, moderate to severe mental health, then okay, where are you going to go to next? Now we'll take you over to a couple of Aboriginal organisations, but they're not hand led there. They walk out your door and they go elsewhere, you know. It was happening good, but then they say, oh, too much work. Which that shows you there your role. Why aren't you moving them over? They're Aboriginal, you know, all this stuff. Everybody say it's too hard work. So I was at a meeting last week in Perth, and I sort of mentioned that we need to stop looking at moderate to severe to bring them into service. We need to look at other social, emotional well-being issues. That's what they're presenting with need to be sorted out. Do an assessment and take it from there. Because assessment, you know, doing an MHK assessment, it's a lot of work. But in that session, we also have it's called MR23. It's a cultural gathering tool we have in WA. We adapted that, redesigned it from Queensland many years ago, and we're training all the Aboriginal mental health workers to do it because it's in that form. It tells you, you know, who you are, what's your name. It's got stolen generation stuff, you know, like brought up by your grandmother, blah, blah, blah. What's your spirituality, your skin group, everything like that.
Yeah.
It's huge, and it's very, that information is very, very worthwhile, because if someone gets sent to an inpatient unit out of the Pilbara, they look at the other workers, the Aboriginal workers, look at that tool and start providing culturally appropriate care straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I like to do. I like more trained Aboriginal people, and I like to see them go up into tertiary levels also too,
Yeah.
not so much, 50D positions, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So my last question is, what would you like people to walk away with from our yarn this morning?
Oh, well, obviously I do have a passion for Aboriginal health, in particular extra passion for Aboriginal mental health. I see too much chronic diseases. I always say closing the gap should have came earlier, or my family might be still alive by then.
Yeah.
Take away again, I had going away yesterday after tea, and I didn't realise I had made an impact on WACHS service with all the reminding me of the stories. And I went home, so I hesitated to have one, then I had one because of the people that have been in the hospital for many, many years, the hotel services, orderlies, friends in nurses, doctors, people I knew for many, many years. So I didn't realise I did exceed a lot of contributions to Port Hedland, the Pilbara, in the hospital, and for the community, and for the workers as they reflect. Even the CEO from first joined in on team. I just feel that I didn't know all that stuff. They brought my memory back, because I wiped it, I achieved it, I moved up my line, kept going everything. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? That's how I operate. But they brought me back yesterday, because that stuff I don't remember no more.
No.
Is it getting dementia yet? I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. And so I'll go over next week and presenting a RAP abstract.
Yeah.
In around reconciliation with psychiatry and in mental health.
Oh, awesome.
So we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Well, you know how much I love you and the work that you do, and I have been following you, even though we haven't always caught up.
You little thing, yeah, okay.
I have been following you. It's called cyber stalking. Cyber stalking.
Yes, it is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I want to say thank you for joining us, and just look after yourself, and we'll stay in much more contact. But guys, I want to thank Katie for joining us on the podcast today. Thanks, Katie, for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, AJ.
Okay. And guys, I'll see you at the next podcast.